Okay, so in this video, we're going to be looking at helpers in 3ds Max, and you can use helpers to rotate objects, to move objects. So let me show you how you can do that. So let's just maximize the screen and let's just create a few objects. Let's create a box. Let's maybe create a box there, something here, and let's maybe create a sphere as well. First of all, what I want to do, I want to center this object here to the center of this grid, and an easy way to do that is click on this, make sure you're on move, and then here at the bottom your X, Y, and Z, make sure they're all set to 0. So just type in 0, 0, 0, and that will center that pivot point to the center of your grid. So now we're going to create a helper object. So if you click on the helpers button here, it looks like a little measuring tape icon, and then we're going to create a point helper. So click on point and then just click anywhere in your scene, and that will create a point helper. Usually it will be on cross, so it will look something like that. And in the properties or the parameters dialog box, you can change this to box and untick cross. That will just change your helper into a box. So what you can do, you can link objects to this helper. So let's just select some objects, and to add more objects to your selection, just hold in Control on your keyboard and drag to select more objects. And then right here in the corner, there's a select and link. You'll see it's like a little chain icon. So I'm going to click on that, and then you can click on any of these selected objects and drag towards your helper. Then release, and that's going to link all these objects to that helper. So now if I go to my move tool and I click on the helper and I move that around, you'll see that all my objects will follow along. If we press E on the keyboard and rotate the helper, you'll see that all my objects will rotate around that. And the same with scale. If I scale my helper, it will scale all my objects together. Okay, let's undo that quickly. Let's just go back to where we moved everything. So what I want to do next is I want to unlink all these objects from this helper. So I'm going to select them all again. So just drag over them, hold in Control, and select your other objects as well. And then next to your select and link, there's a broken chain. Then you just click on that and it will unlink all those objects from your helper. So if we select the helper again, we moved around, it won't affect any of the objects. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to align an object to another object. So let's say, for instance, we want to align this helper to this box right in the center of the grid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my helper, and then here at the top you'll see these two little bars. It says align. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on the object that I want to align this one to. So I'm going to click on the center box, and it's going to open up the align selection dialog box. So here you can choose what axes you want to align to that object. So I'm going to click X position, Y, and Z, and then I'm going to say center of that object. You can also select the pivot point. That will actually align the pivot points, because this box here in the middle, the pivot point's actually at the base, but I want to align it to the center of that object. So just click center, center, then click on OK, and your helper will be aligned to that box. Let's just scale the helper a little bit. As you can see, it's a bit small, so it's inside of that object. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to link all my objects again. So I'm going to click on the center box. I'm going to hold in Control and just select my other objects around it as well. And then I'm going to click on select and link, and then I'm going to drag them to the helper. And now if I rotate the helper, everything will rotate around it. So this is a really cool way to actually create your own pivot point for multiple objects. So say you've got different objects and you want those objects to spin around a specific pivot point, create a helper, link all those objects to that helper, and then the helper will be your pivot point. Right, so that's how to use helpers in 3ds Max, and also how to align objects to each other, and I'll see you in the next video.